Hello YouTube friends and fans, this is Gripst coming at you with a little low stakes poker session on towergaming.com. I know it's been a while since I've made a video and I apologize. I've just been real busy in my life, as I'm sure a lot of you are as well. But I've made my New Year's resolution and I want to help my fellow man and woman. So I'm going to try to come at you guys with some more regular videos and cater to the requests that you guys have given me. I've received some really good feedback, so I'm going to try to just, go with what was asked for. So today I'm going to be just playing 4 tables probably at Tower Gaming, which is on the Cake Poker Network. I've gotten myself on some wait lists where I think there are some fish and some dead money, but I don't know how long it's going to take to get on those tables. So in the meantime, I just hopped on whatever was going. So what I'm doing right now is just scouting through the lobby to try to find the best game, and I'm gonna hop on this one here because there is a player sitting with less than 100 big blinds. Diller 1983 sitting with 1795, and that probably means that he is some sort of a weak player. He's definitely got the screen name tell going on, and more importantly than anything, he's not sitting with a full stack, which means it's quite possibly his entire bankroll in play right there. So if he's playing, with one bullet, he's not going to be able to play as well as someone who has 10, 20 buy-ins in their account. So he's someone I'm going to be targeting. All right, we got a limp from the small blind. I'm going to be jacking this up most of the time that this happens. If I have a trash hand, I like to jack it up because they probably don't have anything, and I can just either win it pre-flop or take it down with a bet on the flop. And if I have a really good hand, I want to be raising to charge him and pushing my advantage of having the better hand. Now on this board, a lot of the stuff he limped with might call, gut shots, might have flopped 3/8, might have had like queen deuce or something, or ace high. My hope was to just check it back and check the turn and check the river and make it to the showdown without investing more money in this pot, because I felt that, I hope it didn't show my cards there. I felt that if I bet, he would only call if he had a hand that could probably beat a pair of 4s. And I couldn't really bet the flop, the turn, and the river. So if I bet the flop and he called, even if he has a hand worse than mine, if I check the turn back, he's just going to take that pot away. So rather than starting down what I feel was a bad path, I just chose to check and keep the pot small. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. Just because you raise pre-flop doesn't mean you have to bet every time after the flop. Here on the other hand, we flopped an open-ended straight draw, 2 overcards. I'm very happy to get all my money in on that hand. So yeah. The 8-6 suited is a hand that I would sometimes like to raise up front. It's a fun little hand. Can hit lots of sneaky stuff. But the players in the blinds are short stacked, which decreases a lot of the implied odds value of the hand. And the players in position on me at least self-medicate. Who is probably talking about, you know what, I probably shouldn't say it on the video because it might be inappropriate for some viewers. But for those of you who caught that, you will know what I'm talking about. Anyway, with the regulars having position on me, ooh, we getting some good seats. We're going to get off this silly game up here. 3-handed. Hate 3-handed. I don't know about you guys, but I fucking hate 3-handed. It is so strange. Yeah, so with the regulars having position on me, I'd rather have a hand that has some more pre-flop value, some more high card value, being like, you know, 2 big cards or a pair. I'm just going to call here. So for that reason, I decided to fold the 8-6 suited, although sometimes I would definitely raise the 8-6 suited. And that's something pretty important in poker, is to know why you are doing what you're doing, and then to have a plan going through. And this guy's limp called a bunch, but I'm still just going to raise him up and just fire away, because he can't limp call every time. All right, I'm gonna leave this table and bring in a different one. Just bear with me for a minute here, folks, while I figure out which games would be best to have on screen. And when these guys both check, I'm going to bet, because Party Mary is probably not calling, so as long as Self-Medicate doesn't have anything, I can win this pot. And that's using my position. It's not the nicest flop for the 2-10s. I'm obviously happy I flopped a set, and I'm probably not going to fold it, but if he continues, it's kind of dangerous. Okay, so let's see. 2 of these tables are shallow, which means you sit with 50 big blinds as the maximum. I don't really get it. Some people like it. I don't like it at all, but you know, it works for some people. Alright. This table looks sweet, except for the fact that it's one of them shallow stack tables. Not too shallow. And alright, one of these shallow games is gonna go. I'm just gonna bet the minimum, because no one ever folds for the minimum. What? First time for everything. So hard to choose which game's the worst. Damn, why is every game shallow? And now my other game just disappeared. What the fuck? Alright, so we gotta decide between the 2 shallow games. Which one's the worst? That's the top right table and the bottom left table. So let's see which players look fishier. Cake Lover 31, definitely a fish. Nugget North, less likely to be a fish, still probably a fish. Ziggy 34, definitely a fish. Donizetti from Berlin, this is possibly good player. I do not want to mess with the guy from Berlin. And Pretty Brat New York, less likely to be a fish. So okay, on this table we believe that we have 3 fish, but we are out of position to all of them, which is not what we're looking for. Try flop. So I'll fire a couple shells at this one, because he can peel the flop with a pocket pair like 7s, 8s, or 9s, which we'll have to fold to the second barrel on the turn. If, however, he calls the second barrel, he probably is going to have a hand like King Queen, and if King Queen calls the turn, it's probably calling the river too. So unless I improve to a pair of aces or a stratty, I should probably be willing to release that one. Damn it, another fucking shallow game. What the fuck? Fold. What you got? What you got? Alright, now on the bottom left table, Yuan Yi, probably a fish. FIFA 0607, sounds like a fish. No Luck 17, fish. CZM, don't know what it means, and he has less than 100 big blinds, probably a fish. And Mad Dog 33, he's the one guy I would assume might be a reg. So 5 fish bottom left table, 3 fish top right table. I think it's a pretty easy decision. Peace out, top right game. By the way, I'm just gonna fold those pocket 6s. So it's not like you missed anything. let's just raise him up. Blind versus blind and see how he's going to play back. I'm probably just going to fire all 3 bullets here. I think he's calling the flop with ace high as well as pairs, so I can get the ace highs to fold on the turn. And I could get the pocket pairs to fold on some rivers. Probably not on that river, though. I'm going to give up. Calls 2 streets with ace high. It's interesting. I think if he hadn't improved to a gut shot on the turn, he would have folded. So we got kind of unlucky that the turn was what it was. Or we got kind of unlucky that I checked the river like a bitch instead of blasting at it. Alright, well, now that we got our tables, we can talk strategy. This is the first time this guy has re-raised, so I'm going to give him credit that he probably has a good hand. So I'm actually going to fold the king-queen, because I think against a player who is 3-betting with only good hands, it's a bad reverse implied odds situation, which means we're either going to win a small pot or lose a big pot, which is never good. Got to come at you with some bonus footage. I played 6s, and I got a full house now. I bet the flop. He stabbed. I just called the turn because I didn't want to scare him away if he was like full of it or whatever. I didn't want to let the cat out of the bag too fast, so I just smooth called, and I let him improve to a pair, which got me a stack. Whereas if I had raised the turn when he let into me, he would have folded. Note to you guys, write this one down. When someone leads out into the pre-flop raiser, whether it's on the flop or on the turn, it is what we call a donk bet. D-O-N-K B-E-T. And usually when someone donk bets, they don't have a very strong hand. So if you have like an okay hand, like middle pair, or something, you know, that you don't really want to call down all the way with, or like a gut shot, you should go ahead and raise their donk bet. See what happens. They're going to fold a very good percentage of the time, which allows you to pick up a nice pot. If, however, you have a real strong hand that you are definitely just comfortable calling down with, like I had there with the full house, just click the call and let them keep betting at you. You'll only find out how people play by, you know, making notes and going through situations over and over again. But a lot of players will keep leading into you even if they haven't improved, and you can get a lot of bluff money out of them. And if someone wants to bluff at you, there's no reason to ever let them off the hook. What's up, bruh? I'm making a little something for our YouTube fans. What's up? This is my roommate. I don't know if he's gonna work on the webcam, but if he does, he's waving at you, and if he doesn't, well, then that was just a waste of my breath. Anyway, so we're gonna ditch that shallow table because I don't like shallow tables. Later, Mad Dog. So, sorry for my roommate distracting me. Anyway, when people are donk betting, you want to let them keep betting when you have a really good hand. It's called giving them rope so that they can hang themselves. You don't want to take that rope away when someone is trying to, you know, do the old suicide against you. And now I completely forgot what we were talking about before I brought in that bonus footage. And I'm sorry, because it's just not going to come back to me. So, just going to continue clicking away and seeing what happens. Full house. Ouch. But you guys are more than welcome to put in the comments of the video what I was talking about before I went on that tangent, and then I'll happily respond to it in the comment section so we can still cover whatever topic I was trying to cover before I got distracted. Appears I have 2 games here. Shallow, peace. No one wants to watch push fold poker. People want to watch deep stack poker. Reload. It's very important when you're playing to reload at every opportunity, because you never know when a cooler might happen. And let's just say you're going to set someone, or you're going to get aces against their kings. You definitely want to have a full stack, because every big blind or dollar that you don't have towards your full stack is value you're going to miss out on if you can get all in against someone. King queen here, it's an okay spot to squeeze. But given that I don't know too much about either of these players yet, I'm just going to call, keep the pot under control, and evaluate what to do post flop. Both of them aren't 100 big blinds either, which gives me less incentive to squeeze and more incentive to just try to make a pair. Snap call. Well, if Dillard didn't call, I probably would still put a call in there, because I flopped a pair and a gut shot and I have some equity. I think Dillard might have an ace, but I could still hit a queen or a jack. So I'm going to call and see what goes down with this hand. If party bets again, I'm folding. And if Dillard leads the river, I'm going to fold. Given that he checks, I'm pretty sure I have Marty beat. I don't know if I have Dillard beat. I think he probably would have bet an ace, and he might call with a hand like a queen jack or a 10 jack if the price is right. So I'm going to bet pretty small, something in the range of 420, and see. But he had the ace, so my bet was what we call too thin there. It's possible that he might not have called with a hand such as queen jack there. Bonus footage. I re-raised these pocket aces, but I'm not going to get distracted from what I was saying. Yeah, if he can't call with a worse hand like queen jack, let's just say he would fold the queen jack because he's afraid that I have the ace, then that makes our bet too thin, and it means there's no point in betting. If he can't call with a worse hand, then there's no point in trying to bet the hand to get paid. So it's okay to just check back, which is what I would do going forward. And I thought it was really close whether or not there was value in betting, or whether I should just check it back. But for information's sake, I went for it. We got all in with pocket queens, and we're up against ace king, and the flop needs to not have an ace or a king. Come on! Got him. Alright, bonus footage over. The ace is there. That was another example of giving him rope. When he check-raised the flop, if he had a good hand and I re-raise, we're going to get the money in for sure. If he has a good hand and I just call, he's going to bet the turn and I can still get all the money in. So against his good hands, whether I re-raise again on the flop or just call, doesn't really make a difference. Now, if he has a bad hand, like a bluff, and I re-raise the flop, then he's going to fold. Whereas if he has a bad hand and I just call, now I give him the option to keep putting money in the pot on the turn with his bad hand that has little equity or might be drawing debt. So for that reason, calling is better than re-raising in that spot. Because we get the same amount of money when he has a real hand, but we get more money for the times that he's bluffing. Now, the pocket queens hand that I had, where I just put in 4 bets and got the money all in, that had to do with the fact that this guy is definitely a regular player. He had more than 100 big blinds. I've seen he's playing on some other tables too. So that means he's probably going to be playing aggressively in those situations where it's button and blinds players. You know, a 3 or 4-handed dynamic. So I believe that he will be 3-betting all his Broadway cards, a lot of pocket pairs and stuff. So I'm putting in the 4th raise before the flop for value, because I believe I have the best hand a good percentage of the time. Now, he will have aces and kings sometimes, in which I'm beat, but an ace-king, which I'm flipping. But I think more often I'm going to have the best hand than I'm going to not have the best hand, if that makes sense. You know, the times that he has me beat are more than made up for by the times that I have him beat. I also think that he'll be willing to go all in with some of those hands that I have beat pre-flop. You know, the jacks, the 10s, the 9s, the ace-king. So for that reason, I'm happy to get the money in pre-flop. I'm going to be ahead. I'm going to be dominating, like, we'll say 40% of the time. I'm going to be dominated 30% of the time. I'm going to be flipping 30% of the time. So overall, the math is in my favor to just go for it there. Mad Dog. I'm just going to put the pressure on him here, see what happens. King Jack's a hand that's not really good enough to call a raise. I think that if I flop top pair, I can't be sure if he has me or not. But it was kind of like a hand that I didn't really feel like folding. And whenever you have one of those hands that, you know, you don't want to fold, but you don't think it's worth calling, just throw in a re-raise. You're semi-bluffing pre-flop, which is a cool play. I mean, you semi-bluff after the flop sometimes, and that's how to semi-bluff pre-flop. You just pick a hand that you're re-raising, not because you think you have the best hand, but just because it's hard to play back. I mean, put yourself in the other guy's shoes. You open with Queen Jack suited, or pocket 5s, or Ace 9 offsuit, and you get re-raised by a guy who has position on you. Pretty shitty spot to be in, right? I mean, what's the best way to proceed? I don't know. I mean, I usually just fold because, well, the guy's just going to bet the flop whether he's bluffing or whether he has it. Should we gamble? Nah, gambling's for fish. Gambling's for fish. We don't gamble. We get it in good. Yes, we don't want to take a coin flip there. We get coolered behind. And he's back in the game. Yeah, anyway, like, they're going to continuation bet, and we're going to miss 2/3 of the time. So right away we have to fold 2/3 of the time, which sucks. Then there's also the times that we'll hit a piece, and we'll call the bet. And then, you know, he'll bet the turn. He'll keep betting the whole way, and you're like, okay, well, I flopped a pair with my Queen Jack, so I better call down, and then he just shows you an overpair. Or a better kicker. And you're just like, well, damn, why did I play that big pot out of position with a marginal hand? So, you know, people, usually the best option when you get 3-bet is just to fold, which is why 3-betting, especially in position, is such a powerful tool to be using. But you can't just 3-bet every time. You know, you can't just be like, well, I got the button, I got 6-3 offsuit, I'm going to 3-bet. Now, you can't do that because then you're going to be 3-betting too much and people are going to know that you're just 3-betting with garbage. And they're going to start, re-raising you and playing back at you. And you don't want people to play back at you. You just want people to kind of let you do your thing and let you run them over a little bit per se, or stay out of your way while you go after the fish. The perfect scenario is when you're playing on a game with a couple fish, couple regs, and the regulars just stay out of your way because they're afraid of you. And that way you pretty much get to play all the pots you want against the fish. And that's where you make money in this game for the most part, is attacking the weak players. Survival of the fittest. Predator, prey, all that stuff. If you're trying to be a pro poker player, your job is to find good spots for your money, and that's usually against weak players. This ace-9 off I could open from the cutoff, but I think this guy on the button might be a regular. And what am I going to do if he 3-bets me? I don't know. Waste $2. Okay, here's an example where I could give him rope if he's bluffing, but I don't think he's bluffing. So I actually want to just re-raise and get more money in, because I want to try to get all in here before the board gets scary. Let's say he has like a worse 10 than me. I don't want like a king or a queen or a jack coming off that scares him out of thinking he has the best hand, because when he check raises me, he says he might have the best hand. Or not. So my goal there is to just re-raise on the flop and get the money in if he has a 10. I don't want a card to come that could kill my action. Also, let's say if he is randomly bluffing and he has like a couple of overcards or something, he has decent equity there. He's going to suck out on me probably about a third of the time. And given that there's already 10, 11 bucks in the middle, and he's only got 20 more, I'd rather just take the 10 bucks 100% of the time that he's bluffing than lose $30 a third of the time when he's bluffing and he gets lucky on me, 'cause I'm not going to know which cards hit him. So I'll just be playing the guessing game of whether my hand's still good. And that's never fun. You want to be pretty sure about what's going on with your hand. Here I'm going to fire the continuation bet with the ace-jack, because the only hands that I think can calm me down the whole way are sets. And it's pretty hard to make sets in this game. Now that I turned a pair, I'm going to bet it for value. If he has an 8 or a 5 or a 2, he might call again. Now he raises. Well, my thinking was if he had a hand that was worse than me, he would just call again. I think for him to raise here, he should probably have that set that we were worried about, or a hand like a pair with the spade draw, in which case we don't have the best equity. So because I think he has a pretty strong hand there, even though I have top pair, top kicker, I'm going to go ahead and fold it. If I play on, I have to play for my whole stack because he's obviously gonna go all in on the river, and I just don't really want to play for my whole stack with one pair there, even though I turned one of the best cards I could get. Just given the information that he's giving me with his betting actions, I don't think that one pair is good anymore. I thought it was when I turned it, and I thought it was when I bet it, which is why I bet it. But once he raises me there, I don't think it's good anymore. 6-8 suited here on the bonus coverage. I raised pre-flop because there were some weak players behind. I bet the flop because I flopped a flush draw. And then I turned a flush, so I bet again. And now I'm going to go all in because I still have a flush and he probably has like a pair or two. And ship it. what a scam. All right, let's talk a little bit about opening ranges, because that's a place where a lot of people make a lot of mistakes. Ace-6 suited. Looks like a good hand. Plays well. Does well against a lot of other hands. Flops strong draws. Flops top pair. Can make the nut flush. Sweet hand. But when you're going into 5 people, and there's a good chance you're going to be out of position, you're going to find yourself in a lot of difficult spots where you're unsure what to do. Now, since the whole fundamental theory of poker is that your goal is to make as few mistakes as possible, when you're playing, and especially when you're learning the game, you want to avoid the tough decisions. The easiest way to avoid tough decisions is to not open a lot of hands from early position, because that's the situation where you are most likely going to be playing out of position. What are you even trying to say you got, man? I mean, I got nothing, so I'll fold, but I don't know if he's got like a pair of 9s he's doing this with. Whatever, boring. We got bonus coverage. Bonus coverage. Yeah, if you keep your raising, if you only play the good hands from the early positions, which is what you're supposed to do in the games, it's the commonly accepted strategy, then for the most part, if you do have to play a pot out of position, snap call, you rigged, right? So rigged. Re-rigged. I mean, with the gut shot, the possibility of the queen pairing or a running pair or a king coming, I got decent equity. I'm going to suck out there a lot more than you guys might think. I'll look it up on the side. Anyway, yeah, if you only play good hands from early position, then when you do have to play out of position because you raised up front and got called by someone in position, your decisions are going to be much easier. You're going to have good hands. You're also going to be raising not that often from up front, so it's going to be much less common that you find yourself in a pot out of position. Whereas your hands, like your 6-8 suiteds and your ace-2 suiteds and your ace-7 offsuit, 9-8 offsuit, whatever, yeah, you can definitely play those hands, but the place to play them is definitely on the button, or to the position the right of the button, also known as the cutoff, where most likely thing to happen is that the blinds either fold and you win the pot, or one of the players in the blinds calls you and you get to play a pot in position. It is infinitely easier to win a pot when you have position than when you don't have a position, and that's why it's okay to play a wide range of hands in position. King 10 off in early position, I don't want to play it. If I was 1 seat over and I only had 3 hands to get through instead of 4 hands, and the odds of the person calling me are very high to be a person who's out of position, I'm interested in playing. Given that it's 50-50, that if the hand goes on, I might be out of position, I'm not interested, and I'm just going to pass. I'm just going to be facing too many difficult decisions out of position and with, a medium strength hand. You give me king queen there, I'm raising every time. You give me king 10 suited, yeah, I'm probably raising that too, because I can flop the flush draws, which are easier to play, and there are more boards that I can hit. The more boards you can hit with your hand, the more ways you can flop equity, the more ways you can semi-bluff, the better the hand is, and the more it can be played from different positions. King 10 9. Yeah, you're damn right. I'm looking up my equity with that pocket king's hand. This time he just calls. Well, the only hands I beat on the flop are King Queen and 8-9. And I think he had clubs a bunch and a jack a bunch that aren't folding the turn, so I don't think there was any point in betting twice. Now I think he would have bet the turn if he had clubs. So I think he actually is going to have that King Queen a bunch, or a jack that he was controlling the size of the pot with, checking back so we could call the river. So when I got lucky here, I got to put in a value bet. But if he raises me, I should probably fold because he either has a flush or a full house that he slow played. And I just don't think he has a bluff here very often if he raises. Ace Queen, I'm going to gamble. I don't know if this guy's re-raising a lot or if he's re-raising very infrequently. If he re-raises a ton, this is a very easy all-in. If he re-raises very infrequently, then this is a bad hand to get all in because he only has hands that are flipping with me or ace-king, which dominates me. But given that he's a short stack and it's 25-50 cent, I'm going to take my chances, and we'll find out. Damn. Ace-king. We're just going to cover that up while we get some bonus coverage of aces getting all in. Oh my god. Winning. Winning. So, yeah, it turned out that the ace-queen was not a good hand to get all in against that player. But we sucked out and still won the pot. If I had been paying more attention, which is what you should be doing when you're playing, I would have probably known that FIFA actually is a pretty tight player, and that I can just fold ace-queen to his re-raise there. And it's very important to know that ace-queen is a hand that can definitely be folded to a re-raise. It's a hand that can get you in a lot of trouble due to reverse implied odds stuff. And if you're someone who's capable of folding ace-queen, given the right situation, you're going to be making a lot more money than the guy who's not capable of folding ace-queen, because he's constantly going to be giving away too much money with his ace-queen that's digging into his win rate. And, yeah. This ace-king, I think I re-raised pre-flop. But either way, I got a pair of aces, best kicker. It's very unlikely he has two pair. I'm just going to go the whole way. Bet, bet, bet. If like a jack came on the turn or a 10, I'm going to be a lot more concerned because he could have made two pair with a hand like ace-jack, ace-queen. But when the board runs out so kind of low like that, and there were no straight draws other than a gut shot that came in, I can just feel pretty confident that I still have the best hand. And that's it. So my equity with the kings was 38%. That's pretty good. And based on how much was already in the pot, it's a fine play. I'd have to go back to see it. You know what? At the end of the session, which I'll probably just do in like 10 minutes, we'll do a little math of why it was fine to just get that in. Okay, here I'm going to bet small because I don't want to lose my guy if he has a weak ace, or if he has like a straight draw. I don't want him to fold, so I'm going to bet small. But I also don't want to check because I want to keep getting money in the pot so that I can have a bigger pot on the river and make a bigger value bet. If you slow play your hands too long, then the pot will have no money in it at the end and you can't get all in, which when you have a good hand is what you want to do. Try to find a way to get all in. And it looks like he was bluffing. And that probably means if I bet the turn big, he would have folded. But given I bet real small, I kind of just like milked him in, brought him along for the ride. So I think that was a well-played hand by me. Especially the part about turning a full house and flopping two pair. That was very well played by me. I'm going to pat myself on the back for that one. Sorry about that pop-up. I kind of just made this video last minute. I didn't really prepare for it, so normally that should have popped up on the other monitor, but got in the way. Anyway, that was just Hold'em Manager, which is a program that you can use to keep track of your results. For anyone who's serious about the game, it's a good program to have because you can look back through the hands you played, see where you made mistakes, see where you were doing well. Try to fix some stuff up. Yeah, I'm just gonna find that pocket king's hand. Whoop, 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 whoop. Bring that over at the end. So I'm going to play for 4 more minutes. And then I'm going to quickly review the 5 biggest pots that I played, including both winners and losers. Although the biggest loser was smaller than the top 7 biggest winners, so maybe I'll just put a biggest loser in there anyway. I should be paying attention. I should know if this guy's playing loose or tight, but he has 30 big blinds, and with a pair of 9s for 30 big blinds, I'm happy to get all in. Pair of 10s for 40 big blinds, I'd be happy to get all in. Jacks, 50, 60 big blinds. Unless the guy has not played a hand literally for like the entire time he's been playing, it's generally fine to re-raise and get all in with those hands. Self-medicate. Okay, I know that he's a regular, and this time the difference between the king queen and the king jack, I think this hand is good enough to just call the raise with. If he's raising with hands like king jack and like king or queen jack and stuff, queen 10 suited, I don't want to re-raise and make him fold those hands. I'd rather keep them in the pot. I'm going to bet here because self-medicate probably doesn't have a hand. Otherwise, he would have bet himself. I see bet a lot. I was just gambling that he didn't have a hand, you know. Some of the time he's going to have a hand. Some of the time he's not. Given that I was betting $3.50 to win $4 or whatever, and my bet only has to work half the time, it's going to be a profitable play overall. I'm just going to give up. He probably has 10. A 6? You caught me with a 6? God damn, man. Now that I know he calls with just a pair there, the middle pair, I would fire 2 bullets next time. If there is a next time. Here I got to start betting big, so I want to try to get all in by the river. It doesn't look like I'm going to be able to get all in. If I bet the pot 12, then there would be 36 and he'd have 30 left. Then I could get all in. If I bet the pot on the turn in the river. He needs a pretty good hand to call that anyway, though. I doubt he continues. Might call the turn and fold the river. See, now if I had made my sizes bigger earlier in the hand, then I would have less than a pot size bet left, which would mean it's much easier for him to call the all in. But because I fucked that up, instead of going for the whole stack, I'm going to leave him with $9. Because to overbet the river, especially when the draw came in, is pretty suspicious, and it makes it look like you have the draw. And I don't want to scare him away. So I give up the $9 of potential value, and I just bet an amount that I think he will call. Well, it was a cooler, and he had a big flush too, so it didn't matter what I did. I could have got all the money. Could he have gotten away? Maybe. I think by the river he can get away. Now we saw that Black Fry folded last time I re-raised him, so this time I'm just going to trap him with aces. I don't want to lose my customer when I'm an 80% favorite. Yeah, I think for me to raise the flop there, I could have like, you know, just a 10. But once I bet the turn, I probably have either like a set that raised the flop and bet the turn, or a flush. And when I bet the river after the board pairs, now I either have a full house or a flush. Given that he has like the third worst possible flush, it's very unlikely that he can beat the hand I have. And actually, I think it's okay for him to fold his hand on the river. I think he has to call the turn. Calling the flop raise is optional. It's personal preference. Some people say it's mandatory 'cause you got to see if you hit your hand or not. Some people would say they don't want to get put in a bad spot, so a 7 high flush draw they'll fold. But whatever. I think a turn call is mandatory, but on the river he can fold, and he actually could have saved 50 big blinds, which over the long haul is quite a lot of chips. Alright, fold to the c-bet, bro. Fold to the c-bet. Fold to c-bet. Yes! This guy's not going to fold to the c-bet, but on a board this good, I gotta do it. I just gotta do it. Last time he snap called, he had a weak hand. So, had I turned nothing, I actually would have tried bluffing him here. But since I turned a 10, I can beat the 9, which is one hand he might have snap called the flop with. Looks like, I mean, he could have it, he could not. I have to call 288 to win 838, so I have to be right like one time out of 3. 3 to 1. So I'm going to call for the times that he doesn't have an ace. Even if I call and he has an ace, I'm just going to simplify it. I'm going to say there's 750 in the middle. So, when I call and I'm wrong, I lose $2.50. When I call and I'm right, I win $7.50. So, if we ran the situation 4 times, and he's bluffing 1 time out of 4, that means 3 of the 4 times I lose the $2.50 that I called with. 1 out of 4 times I win $7.50. So total loss is $7.50. Total gain is $7.50 if I'm right, if I have the best hand 25% of the time. If I have the best hand more than 25% of the time, that is a profitable call for me to be making on the river there. I don't have to be right every time. I don't even have to be right half of the time. And I'm still making money there over the long run by calling. So if we ran the situation infinite times and he was bluffing more than 1/4 of the time, I'm making money. If he's never bluffing there, then of these 4 times, I'm going to lose all 4. I'm going to lose $10 and never win $7.50. So overall, I have a net loss of $10. And that is the math of like river calling, which is why like sometimes you'll see people make hero calls with crazy hands. And you're like, man, how did he do that? That's like super sick. And some of it's sickness, some of it's like a good read, but a good amount of it's math. Is that you can call and be wrong and it's still fine as long as you're right some small percentage of the time. It's a profitable call. For example, if someone bet the full pot, now it's $7.50. Well, actually, $7.50 in the middle plus the $7.50 that someone's betting, full pot bet, which equals $15. And now for facing a pot size bet, $7.50 to call to win 15. Now we're getting 2 to 1 on our money, which means we need to be right at least 1/3 of the time to break even. So even when someone bets big, you still only have to be right 1 out of 3. So, you know, if it's Possible that as well as them having a made hand, there's a lot of missed draws they could have. It's okay to try to make some hero calls. That's something I should definitely go over in more depth, but I'm happy that that came up at the end of the video because I think it was a good concept to introduce to you guys. Anyway, let's review some of the hands real quick that we played. Bye-bye, tables. Let's see how it looks when I stretch it out. Nah, that looks stupid. And we'll bring this little hold a manager. Okay. So our stats that session were 19-17 with a 3-bet of 5, which was pretty tight. We won $135, and our EV adjusted, which means how much we should have won if the coin flips balanced out, is 44. So you could say kind of we earned $44 and we lucked $90. It's one way to look at it. But anyway, let's look at the big hands. Just do all the pots, $20 and up. Ooh, a little refresh. We want a little more than I first thought. Lucked $91, 181. So we'll do the pots over $20. Some of them might just be pretty whatever. Okay, so 6-8 suited, late position. It's fine to raise. Flop to flush draw. So we bet it. 2/3 of the pot. It's like needs like a 40% success rate to be break even. This guy calls. Now, he should have raised here. He should have just gone all in. Because with his hand, ace jack, a king is scary, a 10 is scary, queen is bad. He doesn't know what I have. And if I have a hand like ace deuce, I'm not going to keep betting. I'm just going to shut down. So he needs to protect the $14 that's in the pot, especially because he has $14 left himself, and just go all in. Then I'd be making an incorrect call to gamble, and it just locks him up $14. His mistake here is that he got greedy. He wanted to win my whole stack with a good hand, but in a spot where his hand is very vulnerable. Now I turn a flush. I bet small because I don't want to lose him. And, you know, I caught a lucky turn because he allowed me to. All he had to do was check raise the flop, and I can't call. And because he had a pot-sized bet left, you see he has $14 left, and there's 14 in the middle. He's better off just getting all in. When you only have a pot-sized bet left, protect your hand. Protect your equity. Alright, pocket sixes. Raise it up. Flop top set. Continuation bet, where you want to get value if someone has an overpair or a 5-4 or a flush draw. There are lots of hands that can call this bet that are worse than our set, and we want to start building the pot because when we flop a big hand, we want to try to get all in. He calls with king jack, don't know why, but he does. Then he starts bluffing, and because it's possible he might be bluffing, we just call. We don't want to scare him away. He catches on unlucky river, good river for us. I think he would have bet 450 on any river, but because he made a pair, he was able to call the $10 extra, so we got more value because he caught an unlucky river. That's why I don't float the flop with king jack high. When this board comes and you have king jack, you just fold. And honestly, I would just fold the king jack right here. But, you know, it's just me. Out of position. You got the rookie hand. You're not even suited. You're just asking for trouble. You're trying to flop a pair so that you can get stacked. Might be fun to you. Doesn't sound like fun to me. Alright, ace queen. Oh yeah. Alright. Y'all saw this one. I wish I could get statistics. This is a kind of dangerous hand, but given that we raised under the gun, and this guy is re-raising from out of position, he probably has a good hand, and the right move here would just be to fold ace-queen. Calling to try to hit a flop is the dumbest thing you can do, so your decision should be just either re-raise and get all the money in, or fold. And I think unless the guy has shown that he's crazy and re-raising a lot, it's better to just fold here. But we don't, and we get lucky. Ace king, re-raise, flop top pair, top kicker, 3-bet pot. I'm just gonna bet. Turns pretty safe. If he had a hand like 8-7 or 4-5, which is much more likely than 5-7, he picked up a draw, so we need to bet to protect our hand. But it's very unlikely he makes 2-pair or anything on that turn, so we just bet for value. And river's a total brick. He makes a big hero call with the deuce. I think pre-flop is bad. He shouldn't call a re-raise with king 2 suited. But given that, flop call's fine. He's getting a decent price. Turn call, it's close. Probably about a break-even call. I wouldn't do it, but whatever. He should fold the river though. He doesn't beat anything. There's no need to spike call. Save the $10. Live to fight another hand. Right. Defend the big blind. Flop a pair and a flush draw. So we raise. We raise because if he has a hand like 2 overcards, he's got a good chance to suck out. We won't know which cards hit him. So we just want to take control. And yeah, he calls. Turn makes us the nuts, so now we want to start betting for value. River, you know, if he has a set and he got there, fine. It's not very likely. There is not many 2 pairs that made a boat, unless he has 10-9. We still have the best hand, so go all in, close to it, win the money. Big pots, just a coin flip. Given that I think he can move all in over my small 4-bet with hands worse than queens, I'm very happy to get all in here. Luckily win a flip. And want to go over the biggest losing hand I have, which could have been a lot bigger. Raise ace jack. Continuation bet, because if he has random face cards, weak ace, bunch of stuff, he can just fold to the continuation bet. Turn gives me top pair, so I bet again for value, and he raises. Now, 1 pair is generally not a $50 hand, especially when there was only 1 raise in before the flop. If this were a re-raised pot, a 3-bet pot, 1 pair is a lot stronger. But when there's only 1 raise in before the flop, you want to be very careful with 1 pair. The only hands I can think of that he's doing this with that I'm really crushing are like ace-4 of spades, ace-3 of spades that peeled the flop with a gut shot, now turn a flush draw. You could also have ace-deuce of spades, 8-something of spades, which I'm a small favorite against, about 2-1. But on the river, I'm going to be facing the other 18. and I don't know if he's on the misdraw or if he just flopped 2 pair a set and I'm drawing dead. So I'm going to have to blindly call on the river, and to put in $18 here just to fold on the end seems stupid. So I pretty much have to either go with the hand or not. And given that I only have 1 pair, and this guy's taking a very strong line of calling the flop, which means he had something, and then raising the turn, which means he definitely has something, I would rather just let the hand go. So, had I called and been wrong, I could have lost a $50 pot, or a $100 pot. $50 loss for me, but instead my biggest losing hand on the session was negative $12.75, which really helped my win rate and allowed me to win a lot. So, moral of the story, you only got 1 pair, be careful with it. If people have a worse 1 pair, they usually just call down. When they start raising you, especially on the turn, you gotta ask yourself, what kind of hands would this guy really be doing this with? Then you could start to make better decisions. There are some guys who raise all the time, and they'll make that known pretty quick, and then it's easy enough for you to make your decisions going forward from there. Anyway, I guess we'll wrap up the video there. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, post comments on the video, anything you want to discuss, throw some comments in there. I'll try to be active in there and answer your questions. If you got anything personal that you'd like to ask me that doesn't relate to the video but relates to me or poker or whatever, you know, I love to talk about that stuff, just send me a message on YouTube. You know what my name is, Gripst. Easy enough to get in touch. I'm gonna try to do the right thing this year and check that shit daily, so I can answer your guys' questions, provided I have time. If you send me a huge novel, I might not be able to read it in its entirety, so keep them short if you can, but I'll try my best. And also, of course, if any of you are interested in trying out Tower Gaming or getting some more information about Hold'em Manager, the proper way to use it and all that good stuff, definitely send me a private message, and I would be happy to help you out with that. I'm working closely with Tower Gaming these days, so I can help you guys get involved in their VIP program, which is really fantastic and allows you to make a lot of extra money just for playing. Doesn't matter if you're playing high stakes, micro stakes, mid stakes, million tables, half a table, no tables. If you're doing anything on the software, just spending time there, even just being active in the community, there are ways for you to get points and get real cash rewards for your time and efforts. So yeah, that's, if you're interested in that, hit me up. You want to shoot the shit, hit me up. You want to tell me who your favorite poker player is, hit me up. Love to hear from you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. This has been Gripst. Hopefully see you guys soon. Maybe next week. Maybe tomorrow. Anyway, peace.